So you really have to be careful where you give it to, what space that you spend your time in. That pulls into your circadian rhythm. I feel like time gets caught in those divots, like it's almost like a fluid of its own.
Time is so weird. It realizes how boring and bland normal is. Everybody else does it. Why do I want to do it? There are bigger and better things than worrying about what time it is.
They've been talking about the same stuff for thousands of years. Like, you look at the watch and you're just like, oh shoot, it's been an hour, or time is crazy. Who knows? It could be within the next 30, 40 years that we do start looking at like going to like different like galaxies.
Yeah, I mean, if we can figure out the fact of either not teleportation, like warp holes, if we can figure out how to use warp holes.
There he is. Stop. So that's the guy, huh? Yeah, that's it.
Or if we can figure out how to use how these UFOs are working, where they're literally bending space and riding it like a roller coaster, like, then we can get there. We don't have to worry about, it's going to take us like so many like light years. Time is then taken out of the equation slightly, where it's not the matter of
how long it's going to take to get there.
I think
that comes to the question.
That's probably part of why they want to build these photon, like the hydrogen collider, like, so that they could have these pieces on like a ship that can like go like interdimensional travel.
Right.
Yeah.
That brings up the conversation me and Kev were having the other day, though. It's like, even if you were to do that, like you're like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go skip over this other universe through this teleporter real quick. You could come back and like your whole family's like 3 generations down. You know what I mean? Like, time is relative to the area around you. Like,
there's a new Rick and Morty episode about that. Have you watched any of season 5 yet, Wally?
Oh, there is the very first episode.
Yeah, time is so weird.
Time is crazy.
It's such a strange concept. I think the world clock is good for doing stuff on Earth, but we need like a universal clock.
Right, or just to kind of like desettle ourselves from time as a moving full unit. You know what I mean? Time is like in spaces up here, not like it's this perpetual clock clicking down or clicking up. It's literally just from this time to this time. That's all we need to know is it's been 15 minutes from here to here.
Time is giving definition of duration to an event.
Right.
Or just to giving duration, basically.
I mean, it's been what? It's been 3.5 decades since we realized time was relative, and we still haven't changed the way we view time.
Right.
Or the way we use time.
That's what we were talking about too, is like, because like, to my understanding is like how gravity and stuff works is like the Earth sits on like space, like it's like this blanket. So it creates this divot in it, which pulls things around it to it, because it's so heavy. It keeps everything like, well, the sun does, and keeps everything kind of pulled in. And the same thing with the Earth with the moon, because it's so big. And so like, I feel like time gets caught in those divots. Like it's almost like a fluid of its own, where it's like literally, that's why you have your own unique time when you're near the Earth, and when you go fly away from it and come back, it's changed because you're not caught in that pocket of time. And like, to think of like time as a fluid
if you go off like the Back to the Future theory of like different like timelines, like that, like you are leaving that timeline. So then when you come back in, you're not coming back in at the time that you left. You're coming back in at a different point. So anything could have happened at that. And that's when they try to give a theory to it.
Right.
What if days were 48 hours, not 24 hours?
I mean, I feel like that would just like,
so you would legitimately have like sun up, sun down, sun up, sun down. Like you would have 2 sundowns in one day. You would have sundown 1 and then sundown 2.
So then you never go to bed, you just go for long naps.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And you nap at the end of the day. The actual that's where I think it's all time. It's all like time is something that we
it's
like
just the
constructed
relativity that they gave to it. They were like, oh well, in this amount of, and they just whatever word that they give to it, this amount of period has passed that we can actually like majority of the people are probably going to want to sleep while the sun's not up because it's dark and takes away energy and all that.
Because that's what society tells them you're supposed to do.
Right.
And because it's dark out, I mean, like, why would I want to do anything when it's dark out? I'd rather do things when it's light out because then I can see things.
But humans have nocturnal abilities.
They do, and they have like lights and stuff.
Right?
So I
not to that at home, but it's just because like that's what we leaned in. But we also have artificial light that we've, you know what I mean, like
and there are some people like Kev was doing the Uberman schedule, like people that have like different sleep schedules that just whatever their lifestyle that they do, like if they're like a day trader that they just do stock trading during the day and then they sleep like in brief spurts because they got like other like operatives or like other like ventures that they got going on.
Well, that pulls into your circadian rhythm because like they say like, and I've noticed this too, like if you go out camping and get rid of all your watches, all your phones, all your time and stuff like that, your body will naturally reset over time to sun up and sun down.
Yep.
Like you'll wake up with sunset and you'll be tired by the time sun goes down, and it's like your natural rhythm, and it throws people off. Like people who like have to do jobs that are in caves where they don't get to see sunrise or things like that, it throws them off like really bad. Like when you lose all concept of time.
And especially think about even like bringing that to like modern days where people that go into work and work like a 12 or 13 hour shift, that you literally showed up to work and the sun was just starting to rise, and then you're leaving work and it's just down. Like as you were coming into work, that sun was coming up.
And that's the
kills
worst.
me with working.
Yeah,
I remember, especially with where Kev and I are in Michigan. Like, and I know that in Colorado it probably gets dark from time, like when winter hits, like it probably gets dark around like 6-7 o'clock, like similar to like what it does here.
Yep.
And depending on the side of the mountains you're on, I'm sure it probably gets dark real early where you're at because
we're in the east
as
side.
soon as it goes over on the other side of the mountains.
But I remember that like back when I worked at the independent insurance agency, I would start my day at 8:30 and the sun was just starting to come up in like the winter time, and then I would end my day at like 5:30 and the sun was already starting to go down at like 5 o'clock.
That was pitch black already, right?
6 o'clock and it is pitch black.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I just got home. I had a half-hour drive.
I think that was where I started the polyphasic sleeping cycle because I got sick of losing all of my daytime, so I just gave myself more wake time.
You're pulling time out from where you could.
Yeah.
But then as you experienced, if you don't have things that fills in that wake time, like it's good to have it, but then you can be overloaded with it.
It's true. That's where I'm starting to fill the time. I'm making lists, giving myself things to, because I haven't given up on it. It's still a thing.
Oh, of course.
I still do it constantly.
Go through it in binges or spurts or whatever.
Oh, no, I do it all the time. I don't quit.
Oh, there you go. Well,
whatever
you got to do.
It goes. It's because society says you should get 8 hours of sleep doesn't mean I feel like I need to get 8 hours of sleep. I function just fine without it.
Yeah, I feel like I function fine on 6. And my body just
as he yawns.
What time is it?
What were you saying?
I mean, man. Like my body will literally just wake me up after like 6 hours. Like my body is attuned to just naturally waking up at like 7:30. That's when my first alarm goes off, and I wake up before my alarm goes off, which is wild.
That's where
my body. I'm sorry. I get drained at like 10:15, and then my watch starts buzzing saying, "Hey, it's almost nap time." Like my body knows it's nap time before nap time. And then 10:40 hits,
because it knows it's about to get a nap. It knows it's about to recharge.
Yep, and that's all it is. It's just retraining your body to do what you want to do. It does. Mm-hmm. It does. It's not. We're not a master blueprint that we're just mass produced on.
Someone told me this the other day, and they said like the body is great at adapting, but it's terrible about going back to normal.
Yeah.
Now, remember, follow the recommended dosage, and in 6 weeks, you'll be back to normal.
Oh, there you go again with that 6-week stuff. Mister, I don't have that kind of time. I knew everything would turn out okay.
And that's
I realizes how boring and bland normal is. Everybody else does it. Why do I want to do it?
Yeah. Time is fleeting. So you really have to be careful where you give it to, what space that you spend your time in. Like, because I don't know. That's where it's like, I feel like you can feel time flux in that same way too, where if it's like, you're doing something you really like, work can drag all day long. But if you go to like an amusement park with your friends, it seemed like it was like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
3 hours.
It depends on what you're doing. And especially like going to something like going to like a festival going to something that like you're just having a lot of fun. Like you look at the watch and you're just like, oh shoot, it's been an hour, or shoot, it's been 3 hours, or shoot, like we're leaving in like 30 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. And then it hits you that it's like, shoot, it's Sunday. Like this is about to like, my fun activity is about to end. So then like your attitude shifts.
Yeah.
A good conversation can be like that too, where you've been talking to someone for 3 hours and you're like, I've been on the phone for 3 hours.
I've done that many a time, especially with friends that you just haven't talked to in a long time.
Right. You can check out of time. You can check out of time and space. You know what I mean? You can hone out. Like you don't have to be a part of it if you don't want to be.
Don't someone else with time. You don't with time, mother.
It's not always good.
It doesn't have to be on the front of your mind at all times.
Right.
Yes, it's important. Yes, it's there, and yes, it should be considered. But it doesn't always have to be front and foremost, because things do trump it. There are bigger and better things than worrying about what time it is.
Right. It's a tool. That's all time is a tool to measure something. It's not something we have to live our life by. Like, we've set up a society that makes us, but that's about it.
We are really raised to focus on a lot of things that we really have no control of. Control your time.
Money. Yeah.
Money.
Right.
Yes, you should focus on it, but focus on how you can use it to maximize your happiness. Because that's what matters in the end, is your happiness.
Focus on like how it should be used.
Yeah. Like that is valuable.
And that's all relative. Right? That's only you can answer that question for you. How should time be used for you?
That's where I feel like you have to get confident in yourself, and you have to be like, because the more valuable that you believe your time is, the more that you're going to do great things with your time, because you're going to take that time away from people that don't deserve it and things that don't deserve it, and you're going to stop wasting it because you actually value your time, and you're going to make your time more valuable because you're investing in your time. And it's like, that's where I feel like I've hit with stresses with work and stuff like that, because it's like, my worth has gotten so big in my head, which can be a bad thing. But right now I feel like it's great. It's like, I'm going to shoot for whatever, because I want to make my time worth it. Like,
that's where I listened to an ebook by Seneca, who was alive in like 200 AD or 100 something AD. And even back then he's saying, be mindful. You should take into account where you spend your time, just like you do with your finances. See who you're giving your time to, and it starts to become clear.
Especially when you read like ancient literature, stuff like that, like you see that they've been talking about the same stuff for almost
thousands of years.
Thousands of years.
shouldn't we be watching for invaders?
Soon as I get to level 6.
Hey, shouldn't we be invading? Soon as I get to level 6.
But still, so many people
thing.
just interpret it their own different way, and they have their own different meanings.
Well, it's nothing new. It just keeps getting shoveled in the rug. We're like, why are we so stressed? Why are we so depressed? Why are we so all these other things like that? And it's because our like attention's being put on the wrong things. Our attention's being put on make money, have a family, like
it's because we're letting other people focus our attention for us.
Right.
And it's just 100%. Like what you said, you got to see what's important to you, and then you can start structuring your time and what you value and figure out how to get the things that you want that's important to you.
Set your goals high. Like set your goals as
and that's why you should be setting goals.
Right.
Setting goals, yes.
They don't have to be defined, clean cut, like this is exactly what you're going to do, but set goals for yourself. It's something
that you consistently attain toward. That's something that you consistently work towards.
Right. I think that can be the scary thing about it.
Idea. And you figure it out along the way.
Something that at least gives you direction. Like you have something that you're envisioning that you're working towards, as opposed to just staying in the one space that you're in and just not doing anything with the ability that you have.
I will mess with time. I will mess with time.